What's up? What's up? What's up? Don't know if I got anybody, but hey, everybody, anybody, whomever, happy Thanksgiving. Guess you can see that going across the bottom of your screen, so you know I'm thinking about the Thanksgiving in y'all. Um, I'm here today because I didn't do a show this week yet. Yeah, but I'm also lazy, so I didn't want to get dressed. So you guys will be seeing my lovely logo here. I'm still here. I'm still talking. I'll still answer questions and chat. But I'm not getting no camera. I did not do a thing to myself today, and I'm not going to. So welcome back to After the Snap. I'm the host of this here thing, Tasha Pierce, and what we do usually on our weekly wrap ups is we wrap up the week in entertainment news. I guess this is going to be a very light wrap up. There has been some stuff that has happened, however, that we can't ignore. So I have to talk about it. I got to talk about it. So we're going to start off things like we typically start off things here on the weekly wrap up box office. On the weekly wrap up, which is with our box office top 5. And of course, I do have the video clip to share with you guys. So I will get that loaded up. We'll watch it, discuss it, and move on to the next lovely subject. Here tonight is our weekly wrap up box office top 5. Welcome to the After the Snap weekly wrap up box office top 5 for November 18th through 20th. The standings reported are domestic unless otherwise indicated. Coming in at number 5 is Universal's romantic comedy Ticket to Paradise with $3.19 million in its 5th week in theaters. It has now earned $161.6 million worldwide. At number 5, also in its 5th week with $4.62 million, is Warner's Black Adam. The Dwayne Johnson superhero flick has earned $368 million worldwide and is currently available on digital release. It heads to DVD Blu-ray on January 3rd, 2023. In its first week in the top 5, Bible-based series The Chosen surprises with the theatrical release of episodes 1 and 2 of its 3rd season. That was good enough for number 3 and $8.77 million. At number 2, another new release, The Menu. Searchlight's dark comedy has served up $9 million domestically, $16.2 million worldwide. And hanging on to number 1 in its 2nd week, adding $66.5 million to bring its worldwide total to $552 million, is Disney's Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. So just to repeat, this week's weekly wrap-up box office top 5. Coming in at number 5 is Universal's Ticket to Paradise. At number 4 is Warner's Black Adam. At number 3, The Chosen. At number 2, The Menu, Searchlight. And from Disney/Marvel in its 2nd week, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I think it's a safe bet that Wakanda Forever will continue its box office dominance this Thanksgiving weekend. We'll probably have a Disney 1-2 punch with the woefully undermarketed animated adventure Strange World also releasing. I'm perplexed about WB pushing Black Adam to digital this week, but they may be counting on families opting to stay home for movies and paying that higher rental. To make room for Strange World and Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans, which arrives in theaters Wednesday, my guess is we'll be saying goodbye to Ticket to Paradise, which went to digital on November 8th, and The Chosen, which should be available online December 11th. Are you planning a holiday trip to the movies this weekend? Let me know what you're seeing in the comments. And this has been Tasha Pierce with the weekly wrap-up box office top 5. Welcome to the wrap-up box office top 5. Was there any surprises? There were quite a few surprises for me because I didn't expect to see this. The Chosen season 3 episodes 1 and 2, did not expect to see them on the list. Those church folks or people who are fans of this religious type series really came out and supported. They really came out and supported The Chosen. So you still have Ticket to Paradise hanging out. I think this will probably be the last week. Like I said in the video clip, this will probably be the last week we see Ticket to Paradise, but Ticket to Paradise has nothing to be ashamed of because I believe it had a $60 million budget. Let's take a look at the numbers for Ticket to Paradise. Ticket to Paradise had a $60 million budget, and worldwide already it has made oh shucks, I only got domestic. Domestic right now it's at 60, right around $62 million. So you add that worldwide figure to it, it's probably like 100 and something worldwide, and it has been on digital release since November 8th. So they're making some money. They've made their money back. Put it like that. Then we look at Black Adam at number 4. Black Adam, I'm a little bit less optimistic on because they've already released it to digital. Now it made $4.62 million and it's in its 5th week, but that movie cost like almost $250 million to make, and thus far it has made roughly $368 million at the worldwide box office. That's Shazam numbers. That's Shazam numbers. So, and the difference between Shazam and Black Adam is two huge differences. Difference number one is that Shazam, I think, cost somewhere around $80 million to make, whereas Black Adam cost over $200 million to make. And number two, Black Adam has Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson is probably, if not the biggest superstar in the world, he is among the biggest superstars in the world. If he couldn't pull more than $400 million with this character, I'm afraid hopefully what it is that the old regime of DC, the DC heads, they kind of had the feeling that, hey, we make a DC movie, we put Dwayne Johnson in it, people are going to come out. They weren't considering the fact that the movie had to be good. And I'm not saying that Black Adam is not good. I can't say that because I've still not yet seen it. I am one of those people who will be watching it probably on digital this weekend. Hey, Bunny. Hey, girl, I'm not getting on the camera today, girl. I'm just gonna talk my stuff and get on up out of here. I didn't get dressed or anything for this. but yeah, Black Adam, it's not gonna make its money back. It's not going to make the 200 some odd million dollars that it cost to make the movie, plus what they spent to market the movie and the such. It will not be a profitable movie. And that was why I am so confused as to why they put this thing out on digital release already. They put it out yesterday. You could have gotten it yesterday on digital release. I think they're charging a higher price to rent this movie, and then it'll be on DVD and Blu-ray on January 3rd. So Black Adam it's not looking good, but I doubt that there is any danger of there not being a sequel. They're going to make a sequel, and they just have to make it better than this one. And like I said, we go up to The Chosen. That's a Bible series. It made $8.77 million, which means the church folks came out, and they came out in force. They came out to see season 3, episodes 1 and 2 of its new series, or of this season 3. I have never heard of this series, The Chosen. My understanding is you can watch it on Peacock. You can watch it on a bunch of different streamers. They have it free online. They're not trying to make people pay to watch this. I might give it a watch. It's got pretty good Rotten Tomato scores and all of that, so I might check it out. I'm not against watching Bible-based TV. Lysandra, let me get past the menu, this movie, The Menu, and then I'm going to get into this Black Panther because, baby, it's looking real good over in Wakanda. But The Menu by Searchlight. Surprise, surprise, surprise. This movie had a $30 million budget, which means probably maybe a few more weeks of these $9 million box offices, and they will make up their money. But they've also, had a theatrical release worldwide, so there's no telling whether or not the menu has already recouped far more of its money than we are talking about as far as a movie being profitable. This is its first week, so it's the sky is the limit for the menu. It's a dark comedy, and it has Anya Taylor-Joy, which is to its advantage. So yeah, it's looking good for the menu. The crown jewel of last week's box office was Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Now, the first weekend of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever was like a 100 and what was it, $181 million opening. So it has dropped in its second week, but that is expected. So it has dropped. It moved. The second weekend made $66.5 million. Um, we understand as almost a rule that Black Panther, or that any movie, needs to make about 3 times what they spent making the movie. It needs to get that much back at the box office for it to be considered profitable. That's not a hard and heavy rule, but that is pretty much the formula that we look to see if a movie is going to be profitable. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever cost $250 million to make, roughly. Right now, worldwide, it's already at 552 million plus. So there is no question. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever will end its run in theaters as a profitable movie. And this is what you kind of want to see in your superhero movies. You spent that much money making it. You spent $250 million making this movie, not to mention maybe another $200 million to market the movie. You want to see this movie get into the upper 5 to 6 to $700 million. Black Panther did that in 10 days. Black Panther outperformed Black Adam in 10 days. It made more than what Black Adam made in 5 weeks. However, I don't want to make it sound like I'm coming down on Black Adam, because Dwayne Johnson came out and defended his movie, and he wasn't like, I don't know how upset he was, but he did defend his movie because magazines were making the exact same point that I just made, that Black Panther made in 10 days more than what Black Adam did in 5 weeks. Well, Dwayne Johnson says, hey, you can't compare us. Black Panther is an established brand with an established story in an established universe, and people came out to see that because it's a part of an ongoing story already. He says that they are the new kids on the block with Black Adam, and that people need to be patient as far as the money making. Then I say this to Dwayne Johnson, and I love Dwayne Johnson as an actor. Please do not come for me, but I say this: that movie that had no business costed $200 million to make. If there was any question that Dwayne Johnson's name wasn't strong enough to just bring the people in, put the booties in the seat, and have them watching these movies, if his name wasn't bankable enough by itself, then that movie shouldn't have cost $200 million to make. Because now you're working at a disadvantage. And a lot of people said, hey, we enjoyed the action, but it was very weak on story. So if it doesn't have a story, but it's a whole lot of action going around, you might get some kids to go see it and kids to repeat going to see it. But when you want a more mature audience to come and watch your movie and possibly watch it again, you have to have something, some kind of something for them to chew on. It's got to be at least decent story. And that is what we got with Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. We got a pretty damn good story. Wasn't as action-packed as probably a Black Adam, but it was enough to draw in not only the people who are going to see that movie no matter what, but it also drew in people who were fans of Chadwick Boseman. Now, we got Avatar coming out soon. We just got another trailer for Avatar. Avatar, The Way of Water, released another trailer on Monday night during Monday Night Football. So we got another trailer. It's beautiful. It's a flipping gorgeous movie. So hopefully it does exactly what people are saying that it will do. The box office predictions have started rolling in for Avatar, and the pundits, not me, this is not mine. This is what people who are far more experienced at predicting these things, they are saying that they're looking for Avatar, The Way of Water's opening weekend to be around 150 to 175 million dollars. And if you remember the first Avatar did not have as strong an opening weekend as a lot of these movies. In fact, let me pull up the original Avatar movie, and I want to get its opening weekend because let's say Avatar 2009. The opening weekend for the original Avatar movie was $77 million. Now, we got to keep in mind that was 13 years ago, so we got to adjust for inflation a bit. We could probably say if it came out today, that $77 million would probably be the equivalent of about $100 million. It had a $237 million budget, which $77 million was a good opening. But now we're talking about 150 to 175 million. Because off of that $77 million opening, the original Avatar movie went on to worldwide so far has almost made $3 billion. $3 billion with a B. So, this is what this is telling us is that these movies, the Avatar title, had legs. It started strong, but it had enough energy and enough oomph to finish strong. And in fact, they put the movie out this year and it's still making money. So they're not expecting Avatar, The Way of Water, to make all its money in the first weekend. What they're hoping is it's just like its predecessor, that it has legs and that it continues to earn long after other movies have already left the theaters. Think about Top Gun Maverick. That movie came out in May of this year. They just put it out for digital really recently, and they're going to put it out on Paramount Plus shortly after. But Top Gun Maverick has made roughly $1.5 billion. Let's take a look at that one. I'm feeling feisty about looking up these totals here. Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick opened at $126 million, which is a beautiful opening. It has already made roughly $1.5 billion. So it's $1.48 billion worldwide. And it came out on May 25th. They're just now putting it getting ready to put it on Paramount Plus and digital. So the movies like that have legs. They start off strong, but good Lord, you can continue to make money off of them for months and months and months. And then you put it out on digital and make some more money off of it for a few months. Then you put it out on Blu-ray or DVD, you make a little bit more money off of it for some months. Then you put it on streaming, and guess what? You can make some more money off of it. This is a good pattern that Paramount has had with Top Gun Maverick, which is why I wonder why the WB didn't do the same with Black Adam, unless they didn't think that it was sustainable, that it wasn't going to do the things that Top Gun Maverick and other movies has done. Now we're gonna talk about Blade. We're gonna turn the page. We're gonna talk about Blade, and the reason why I'm bringing Blade up for a couple of reasons. Reason number one, y'all know some crazy shit happened over at Disney this week. If you didn't know, I'm gonna tell you about it. Some absolutely bad shit stuff. Because just a couple of months ago, if you remember, just a couple of months ago, the board of directors at Disney said we're going to reinstate, we're going to re-sign Bob Chapek. His contract is good. We're going to sign him on for another 3 years. We think he's doing a fantastic job through this pandemic, even though I have been highly critical of Bob Chapek, and I am not the only one. A lot of people were like, let's give him a chance. Give him a chance. And in a lot of ways, I was in agreement with that. I don't like the moves that he's made so far, but I am for giving him a chance because we have to get on the other side of this pandemic. Even though all of the, I ain't gonna say all, that's a strong word. A lot of the decisions that he made talking for the Disney brand during the pandemic was like, they were some bad decisions. He made some horrible decisions. So last week, they fired him. He got fired. And look, there is a bunch of reasons why Bob Chapek we can say that he got fired. Oops. I don't want to do that. But one of the big ones, let me see. Let me lock this up real quick. One of the big reasons is because of the way he handled a few of the, I guess, the fiascos that presented themselves during his regime. He handled them, and he didn't handle them well. He didn't do too good of a job at dealing with the people aspect of running this business. This is not Disney is not like a fast food restaurant. Everything about Disney is about relationships, how you deal with the other, not the other people, but how you deal with the people that work up under you. I guess, yeah. How do you deal with the people that work up under you? And gosh, I can't make well, that makes me mad because every time I do these things, I don't do it because I want. I'm talking about something that has pissed me off over here on the home front. Ain't got nothing to do with y'all. I'm sorry. But I am mad because I can't get. Let's see. Nope. But anywho, Bob Chapek did not treat people the way he should have treated people. And maybe possibly he thought that the decisions that he was making were decent or good decisions. And as it turned out, his decision making in this era of uncertainty is what got him cut up out of here. So let's take a look at some of what Bob Chapek had to face during his regime as the CEO of Disney. If you guys remember, the thing that I complained about the absolute most as we talked about as it pertained to Bob Chapek was the way he handled the Scarlett Johansson situation. If you guys remember, back in 2021, Black Widow was set to come out in theaters on on July the 8th. Okay, so on July 8th, Black Widow is coming to theaters. And then Bob Chapek makes the ridiculous decision. So, okay, we're going to do, actually, we're going to put this on Disney Plus as well at the same time. Well, that basically said we are not going to give this movie a chance to make any money at the box office, which there were incentives included in Scarlett Johansson's contract that was going to give her part of the box office revenues as part of her profit sharing, so to speak. She took one thing she did was take a smaller salary because she was going to get money on the back end of the deal. Bob Chapek and his regime reneged on that deal and then continued to double down on how they reneged on the deal. And they made Scarlett Johansson look, they attempted to make her look greedy. You cannot gaslight everybody in your audience. We all may not know how the business side of things in the movie industry works. But enough of us are curious that we would look to find out. And we realized that Bob Chapek was trying to screw Scarlett Johansson out of a lot of money. And this went back and forth and it ended in a lawsuit, ugly situation, because Scarlett Johansson has been had a relationship with Disney for over a decade. And that relationship was damaged by Bob Chapek in within the first year of him getting to be the CEO of Disney. So he sucked. So that was one thing. Then we had the Don't Say Gay fiasco. Y'all remember that fiasco? Where, Disney is famously home, or Florida is home of Disney. And Ron DeSantis, who is the governor of Florida, has come up with some controversial legislation that said, hey, we are going to implement in our schools that you cannot discuss being gay. You can't talk about Bruno, and Bruno is being gay. Bruno is about anything but being straight. We don't talk about Bruno. So that is what Ron DeSantis came out with. And of course, in any large industry, there is going to be a segment of your employees. It's going to be a segment of your employees who this will. There we go. A segment of your employee this is going to affect. You got some of your employees who are not going to be straight. They are going to be Bruno. So, okay. They are waiting. Those employees, they're waiting for Bob Chapek to make a statement saying, hey, I support my LGBTQ employees, friends, neighbors, and fans, and everything. I support you. I'm here. I'm down for you. Crickets. People start walking out. People start making noise. You start to find out that Bob Chapek really doesn't know how to deal with the human element of being a CEO of a corporation like Disney. He didn't have to say, the only thing he had to say is, I support you guys. I'm sorry that happened. I'm supporting you. And he failed to do that right away. Took him a little while. He did eventually say it, but it did also take an awful lot of ish to happen before he said it. Okay, so we got two fiascos. But what about when he cut the middle class out of the parks? Well, y'all didn't know that happened? So it wasn't like he came out and said, I do not want the middle class at my parks. No, what he did was outpriced. He made it so exorbitantly expensive that you cut those people out. So now the only people who could afford to go to the theme parks were the upper class. Middle class people were cut out. So if you went to the theme parks, I know Lysandra was a frequent visitor of the Disney, was the one in Florida. Is that Disneyland? She was a frequent visitor of Disneyland. The way Bob Chapek had things set up, you would not have been able to afford to go to Disneyland because we don't want the parks to be so crowded. So you don't want the parks to be so crowded. So you make sure that a certain element of people cannot afford to go to your parks. That's insane. You, okay, Disney World. Okay, Lysandra. Yeah. Well, he tried to make it so that you would pretty much have to be rich to go to Disney World, Disneyland, either one of them. Yeah. And then there are some people who set up a trip. For instance, I was talking about Lysandra. She and her family would plan their trip months in advance. Things that they would like to do when they go there, they'd have their stuff planned out. And then they'd get there and be able to do all of the things that they planned out. Well, the way that the theme parks were set up here recently was that, okay, for instance, I listened to John Campea. You guys know I wax poetic about how I like John Campea and his show. John Campea frequently goes to the California Disney park. And there is, he wanted to go to I think it was the Star Wars. They had the Star Wars theme where you can, whatever it is, you can do this, you can stay at the Star Wars themed hotel and the such. He was doing that. So he planned his trip ahead of time, even though he lives right there in Cali. Just think, after I tell you the story, how more aggravating it would have been if he wasn't in California. So he and his wife planned their trip while they're in California, because that's where they live. And they were just going to go over to Disney and spend the weekend. And they had an itinerary of things that they wanted to do. Well, to get on this Star Wars ride, whatever it is, you had to contact them ahead of time and say, hey, I'll be here at this time on this date. And they give you a time and say, okay, your appointment to get on this ride is this time. And they say, okay, we'll be there. So now you've planned your trip. You've set up your itinerary. You get there and they tell you, oh no, it's overbooked. You can't get on this ride. We got other things that you could do, but this ride today is booked. Maybe you can do it tomorrow. But what if I was leaving tomorrow? What if my itinerary and me making an appointment to get on this ride, the only time that I could get on the ride was the last day that I was there, and now I have stood in line and got to the front, and you telling me that there's no more, I can't do this ride? This is what I spent my money on? I spent my money to come here to do this thing, and you telling me I can't do it after you've held my ass hostage here for a whole damn weekend? Oh no, look, and I always say, let's not do ignorant stuff. But I'd have been ready to burn that park down. I would have been ready to burn the park down and Bob Chapek with it. That's horrible. People have already spent their money, and we ain't talking about $10 or $15. We're talking about hundreds of dollars to come to your park to do certain things. And then when they get there, those things are not available. So now you've already cut out the middle class. If you could afford to go there, you got to have a whole lot of time on your hands because shit like this was happening. Okay, so now ScarJo, he's fucked up a relationship, excuse my French, with one of the most beloved characters from the MCU, which has only made your company $20-something billion since its inception. But okay, ScarJo is angry. She's mad. Ooh, you done pissed her off. You didn't care about that. Don't say gay. You done pissed off a lot of your gay, transgender, or just the LGBTQ community. You done pissed a lot of them off. Oh, that wasn't enough to get fired. You didn't cut all these people out of the middle class and just bungled the way these people visit the theme parks. That didn't get them fired. Then you got the creative process. Remember, I was just talking about $20 billion has been made by Marvel under the Disney umbrella. $20 billion. Now, there has been a lot spoken about this last phase of Disney MCU movies. And you know what? No, I'll continue what I'm saying. There was a lot to be said about this last phase of Disney MCU movies. They were not, to me, as good collectively as a collection. They were not as good as the phases before them. So this is the end of phase 4, and phase 4 is the weakest phase of the MCU thus far, if you ask me. It's my opinion. That's because, I think partly because something that wasn't broken, Bob Chapek came and meddled with. When he became CEO of Disney, Bob Iger wasn't even gone yet. And if you remember, Bob Iger is the person who was there prior to Bob Chapek. He was retiring. He hadn't fully retired yet, but he was like, I don't understand why you messing with shit that don't need to be messed with. So what he did, Bob Chapek, like, let's take for instance Kevin Feige. You guys know how strong I feel about the MCU. I love it. Kevin Feige has been doing a remarkable job at the MCU since 2008, since these movies began. Kevin Feige always answered directly to the CEO not the CEO, to the creative director of Disney. So the director, the creative director, chief creative officer, that is directly who Kevin Feige reported to. And it wasn't a whole lot of mess. It was like, Kevin Feige, you do your thing. You've been doing so well. Why should we mess with you? You done made us a lot of money. Why should we mess with you? Okay. Bob Chapek comes in and says, no, I want to hire my friend who works he just was working at a bank last week. This week, he's going to be Kevin Feige's boss. And now Kevin Feige got to answer to him. How much sense does that make? That's Lysandra is, and I always use her because that's my friend. Yeah, I ain't got too many of them. But I always use her. Lysandra owns a beauty supply store. She owns she owns a beauty supply store. And she sells a lot of hair and beauty supplies and shit. But you're going to come and hire me. I used to sell baseballs. Now you're going to make me the person that everybody at your store that sells beauty supplies, they got to answer to me. And all I'm used to selling is baseballs. I don't know how to make people look good. Well, that's the way I feel about, I'm going to hire a banker and tell a creative that they got to answer to this banker. And what is the only thing the banker is concerned about? If you're a banker, what is the only thing you're concerned about? Some money. Well, you're not concerned about the creative process. You're not concerned about how the audience is going to receive whatever it is that you're doing to the to the films that they love. All you care about is the money because you are a fucking banker. So when you do stuff like that, same thing happened with Star Wars. Kathleen Kennedy, free reign. She answered directly to Alan Horn, who was the chief creative officer over there at Disney. Now they put somebody over her. Now she has to respond and answer to somebody else before she can greenlight a movie. And guess what? Not a goddamn movie got greenlit. Now they did put out a lot of TV, but they for streaming for Disney Plus. They didn't put out one movie. Every time that woman talked about a movie, they pulled the plug on it. And when you have Star Wars fans who are used to every 2 years, like clockwork, a Star Wars movie comes out. Now it's been how many years since we've even seen a Star Wars movie? Let me pull up the last Star Wars movie it was. I think that was in 2019. What was it? Um, something of Skywalker. The Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, 2019. It's been 3 years since we've seen. Yeah, it's been 3 years since we've seen a movie, and we don't even have one in the pipeline for next year. That is insane. That's like leaving $1 billion on the table because I know a lot of people complain about these Star Wars movies. I liked most of them. I liked most of them. People complain, with the real diehard Star Wars fans complain about, oh, this movie did this, they did this. I wish they would have done that. But guess what? The movies always make over $1 billion at the box office. So you telling me that you think that your company, Disney, can afford to shelf Star Wars projects when they are worth $1 billion every damn time they come out? Let's look at the Star Wars franchise. I'm getting a little antsy about looking up these numbers. I like numbers because I can lie, you can lie, but the numbers ain't gonna lie. They're not gonna lie. We don't have a Star Wars film on the calendar until they got Star Wars Rogue Squadron of in 2023. They got it on the calendar. And then they have the next one is 2027. In F insane. But let's see. A lot of people complained about the Rise of Skywalker. They had lots to say, what they didn't enjoy, what they did enjoy, off of that $275 million budget. And you know what? It deserves to have a $275 million budget because worldwide, you're going to make $1 billion. It made $1.1 billion worldwide. So, of course, you can spend $300 million making the movie because you're going to get it back. Let me see another movie, another Star Wars movie, because even the ones that people hate still make $1 billion. What was it was another one that people hated recently. Was it The Last Jedi? The Last Jedi. Was it The Last Jedi? I think it was The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi made $1.3 billion off of a $300 million budget. So how are you leaving? How are you able to say, I'm going to leave $300 million. I'm going to leave $1 billion on the table because we don't want Kathleen Kennedy making movies. Now, mind you, Kathleen Kennedy does have what is it? What is the name of that movie? Indiana Jones. She's got that Willow movie. I know those two movies. Willow is coming out soon. The Indiana Jones is coming out next year. So she's got those two movies coming out from under Lucasfilms. But please, make me understand how y'all shelving Star Wars. But anywho, okay, that's another thing. I got more questions about. Remember Pixar? All the movies that, all those movies that got sent to Disney Plus instead of to the movies from Pixar. Remember the movie Turning Red from last year? Or was that earlier this year? Earlier this year. I loved that movie. Turning Red. Beautiful movie. I think that movie would have done absolutely well, fantastically, in fact, at the theaters. Never made it to the theaters. Um, they put the shit on Disney Plus. So they put it out internationally in the theaters. It made $0 domestically because it was on Disney Plus. Those people who worked on those movies, and I can't remember what other Pixar movies came out. Let me see. And they didn't put them out at at theaters. Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, it wasn't just Turning Red. It was a couple of others, and they are like, you know what? What the hell are we working for? Why are you not putting the movies out at theaters? You're only putting them out on Disney Plus. You trying to up the exposure of Disney Plus at our expense. That was effed up. So yeah, you burn that bridge with those people. And then there's the fact that he has zero people skills. He has no people skills. He can, obviously, he's a good businessman. But part of the business when you're the CEO of a company like Disney is dealing with people. And that is where he had an issue. But none of those things were enough to get him fired. So what happened? Well, the stocks tanked. I mean, the stocks tanked this year. Let this quarter. Let me find some Bob Chapek so we can just talk about Bob for just a second. What about Bob? Wow, I just opened up Deadline 22 minutes ago. Wendy Williams has returned. Is going to work on a new podcast and travel plans. So Wendy Williams is back from a health recovery center, and she already has plans. I think she needs to sit her ass still and just chill out for a little while, get well instead of trying to go to the next project. Get well. But I'm pretty sure we'll talk about that another time. I don't really want to talk about that. It's just that it showed up here. Just that news came out 22 minutes ago. Um, Gosh, I can't find Bob Chapek ass the story that I'm looking for. Bob Chapek. We don't talk about Bruno. Um, so after, and I'm going to, this is from November 11th, okay? This article that I'm reading from on Deadline is from November 11th by Dominic Patton and Dade Hayes. And it says Disney plans layoffs, rigorous review of spending, and a hiring freeze. Tough and uncomfortable decisions are coming, CEO Bob Chapek tells staff. On November 11th, that is what Bob Chapek was saying to his people. He said, I am fully aware. I'm going to share the screen because, oh, me, I guess we can share. Why is this? What? Oh, excuse me, guys. Oh, is there something over there? Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Nope. I took the bottles out of here. Okay. Huh? Oh, no problem. Okay. I lost my chain of thought. I just lost it. Yeah, I just lost it. Oh no, I know what I was going to do. I was going to share the screen with you. So let's stop. I'm going to share another. I'm going to share this article from Deadline. I started to get nervous. Like, what the heck was I just thinking about? Yeah, it was Deadline. Chrome tab. So on November 11th, we had Bob Chapek telling his Disney employees that, oh, things is about to get tough, y'all. He said, I'm fully aware this is going to be a difficult process for many of you and your teams. We're going to have to make tough and uncomfortable decisions. But that is what leadership requires. And I thank you in advance for stepping up during this important time. Now I can read this full memo down here, which I am not going to read the full one, but I am going to read the parts that was probably what made his ass get fired. Okay. Bluntly predicting some staff reductions as part of this review, Chapek went on to tell top staffers, while we will not sacrifice quality or the strength of our unrivaled synergy machine, we must ensure our investments are both efficient and come with tangible benefits to both audiences and the company. Now, like its media peers, the approximately 190,000 employee strong Disney has felt pain in 2022 with its stock down more than 40%, along with inflation, foreign currency fluctuation, and the bruising streaming competition. So when you think about that, you think about the fact that we just talked about Bob Chapek putting Black Widow directly on Disney Plus. We talked about him sending a lot of those Pixar movies straight to Disney Plus. We talked about him not having any Star Wars movies in development. But streaming is in pain right now. So don't you think that all of those things, it would have been better to put all those things in theaters? But anywho, earlier this week, the company reported quarterly earnings below Wall Street earnings expectations. And that's all it took for his ass to get fired. Quarterly earnings below Wall Street earnings expectations. And pay TV losses have hurt Disney. He's been hurt by pay TV. Yeah, so anywho, Bob Chapek was very shortly after that fired. And Bob Iger, the person who he had replaced, is now back as the CEO of Disney. And as much as I hate for anybody to lose their job, he was prepared to cut an entire division of people loose. Not an entire division, but a lot of them. Because he was saying that they were going to make cuts to marketing, which we're already seeing. If you think about it, we got a movie called Strange World coming out. It's probably out. It came out last night. It's a Disney movie. It's an animated feature. How many of you even know what the hell Strange World is? I'll wait. Because I'm almost 100% sure that if you saw some marketing for it, it was very recently. They did not market that movie. They had already started marketing cuts. And if you don't tell people you got a movie coming out, guess what? They're not going to fucking see your movie. And the reason why they're not going to see your movie, sir, is because they had no clue it's coming. And I mean, if we don't know it's coming, it's not like it's a big name. Strange World is just a new movie. It's a new group, a new cast. It's new. It's not like The Incredibles, where people might be looking for a sequel, or it's not like Monsters Inc., where people might be looking for a sequel. It's Strange World. Nobody had even heard of it, probably until they watched Wakanda Forever. That movie is coming out this weekend. And yeah, it's still expected to make some money. It's a family film, it's a Disney film, and it's coming out around Thanksgiving. It's probably going to make some money. But just think about how much more money it would have made if people even knew it was coming out. Okay, anywho, because I know I'm being a bit I'm being a bit hard on Bob, but it takes that. Bob, you kind of effed up, dude. So yeah, he got fired. And them bankers and the people that he had put in those positions, guess what? They're getting fired too. So instead of him cutting the content and marketing divisions of Disney, content, But when we think of content, we're not talking about Tasha making videos. We're talking about big, large groups of people who would be affected if you decided we're not going to make this series. If you decided we're not going to make this movie. Large groups of hundreds of people are affected. And in the marketing, how those same people are affected, because if people are not going out to see the movies that they are working very hard to make, then it's still you still shot those people in the foot. So if it had to be him or them, I'm glad it's him. So now Bob Iger is back. Things came back, and the stocks responded. Bob Iger came back, and the stock market went back up the very next day. Now it's kind of in fluctuation again, because you have to think to yourself, just a few months ago, the Disney board of directors said, we got faith in Bob Chapek. And then just a couple of months later, they're like, nah, get rid of Bob. How do you, excuse me, I'm sorry. How do you go from one extreme to the other that quickly? Unless Bob Chapek did some other awful stuff that we just haven't heard about yet. But I've not heard anything about him being like doing anything horrible. They'll make them say, oh, yeah, you did all this and you did this horrible thing. You got to go. But something happened, man. Something happened. So, yeah. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, I guess I wanted to, I talked about Blade. Did I talk about Blade? So, yeah, Blade found its new director. I guess I started talking about Blade, and that's when I went into the Bob Chapek stuff, because Blade found a new director and found a new writer, and that's good news. To me, it already means that the umbrella is coming from over Kevin Feige's head. But this Blade director is, let me see. This Blade director is Jan Demange. He did the pilot episode of Lovecraft Country, which, if you don't know, I love Lovecraft Country. That freaking absolutely outstanding series, especially for Black people. And then you had White Boy Rick. He did White Boy Rick as well. He is now the director. Then we also got a new writer, and the writer is a pretty darn good pick as well. Let me see now. I got to find the writer's name. After Tariq's departure from the project, Marvel Studios focused on revamping the whole story. So basically, they got a new writer and a new director, and they started from scratch. They got a whole new story. So, let me see, because I keep getting shit covered up and I can't see. And I see Starbury, but I can't find his first name, and that's who I'm looking for. Starbury. Okay, so it's the script is by Michael Starbury, and it's said that it's going to be a dark MCU movie, and that's what we expected when we heard that they was bringing Blade. We wasn't expecting it to be a typical cookie cutter MCU movie. So the fact that they attempted to make it cookie cutter was just like, why would you do that? Why would you bring in a hyper violent character and try to make him fit into this sanitized universe when you're already establishing that there's an entire multiverse out there and that crazy shit can happen? We needed to see some crazy stuff. So I'm glad we're gonna see some crazy stuff. Hopefully they get the show on the road, to get this thing moving, because I'm ready for this movie. We talked about the fact that Avatar: Way of Water It's gonna have a mildly uh I guess a mildly successful opening weekend, but we're gonna hope the thing has legs. Now, Thor, Chris Hemsworth. I don't know how many people have been following Chris Hemsworth. He does those like kind of documentary series for Disney Plus. He did one, and he had I got I'm looking up Thor instead of Chris Hemsworth. Lord have mercy. But yeah, he. Let me see. Oh no, there are certain articles that I don't even read because they are just written by people who are trying to be sensationalist. But anyway, this is coming from the BBC. Chris Hemsworth, his Alzheimer's risk prompts the actor to take an acting break. So, what we are finding out is that Chris Hemsworth made a discovery after undergoing tests as part of his Disney Plus documentary series Limitless. He told Vanity Fair that the test confirmed his biggest fear, adding he will now be trying to take preventative steps. His biggest fear meaning that he has a heightened risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. He has a marker in his DNA on both sides of his family, from his mom and his dad, that would make it more likely, that he would be a person who would get dementia and have memory problems and confusion and the such, Alzheimer's. So Chris Hemsworth learned that he has two copies of the gene APOE4, one from his mother and one from his father, making him about 8 and 10 times more likely to develop the disease than those without both copies of this gene. So about 2 to 3% of the population carries two copies of the gene. So Chris Hemsworth was saying that he hasn't been told to hand in his resignation, but he is starting to realize what really matters. And he wants to manage his sleep, his stress, nutrition, movement, fitness, and he wants to spend time with his family. Because if that thing does jump off and he does end up being a person who has Alzheimer's in the future, you need to make as many memories as you can right now, today. So, um, Chris Hemsworth, to me, is one of the most fit actors in Hollywood. And I'm not saying just fit, I'm saying he stays fit. He doesn't get fit for a role, he stays fit. It makes you think of Dwayne Johnson, same way. He don't get fit for a role, he stays fit. Uh, well, but Limitless, the series, is ironic that Chris Hemsworth learned this about his body during the series, because the entire series is about exploring ways to live longer and healthier. And even if he lives super long, you can live long with Alzheimer's, but uh, the the quality of life would diminish with Alzheimer's. So I'm glad that he is saying, I'm going to do what I got to do to make sure that I have that I'm keeping up with my family, and I'm taking care of myself. I'm glad that he is on that. And if it means taking a break away from movies, so be it. So Bennett. Another thing is he's been talking about Thor lately. Not saying that, oh my, I don't like what we did with Thor. He's saying, look, if I end up doing Thor again, it might be the last time I do it. And I hope it's something really, really different from the ways that I've already performed this character. So I would like to see him do things different as well with that character. Not saying that I didn't like all of the Thor movies, but basically Ragnarok and Infinity War were the peak for the character Thor. So let us not, it doesn't have to be a carbon copy of his performance in those two movies, but give us a little bit more for those two, for that character that will kind of put us in the mind of Ragnarok and Infinity War. He was a perfect, to me, those were perfect depictions of Thor, and it gave him depth, and um, it gave him growth, where you saw him go from one situation of being so broken down in Infinity War, and actually at the end of Ragnarok, from Ragnarok to Thor: Love and Thunder, is that's an entirely different dude in Thor: Love and Thunder. And of course, even though, after going through tragedy after tragedy, and finally getting a win, you will become a different person, but not that different to me. Not that different. I didn't hate Thor: Love and Thunder, but I didn't particularly like it either. So there's that. What else? Let me see. Do I have anything else? I did an episode of my podcast, which is also called After the Snap Movies and TV. You can find it anywhere podcasts are served. I did an episode called Resurrection for Profit. Well, I talked about how Meta and Mark Zuckerberg have plans to digitally resurrect Biggie Smalls and have him doing concerts and experiencing a day in the life with Biggie Smalls, and how I feel like that's exploitation. So if you do me the honor, look in the description of where you're watching this video. You'll see links to my Anchor FM page, or you can just watch it wherever you wherever you get your podcast. It's called, again, Resurrection for Profit, and it's not watch, it's listen. It's an audio podcast, Resurrection for Profit. I'm kind of proud of the work that I did on that episode, and I'd like for you guys to let me know if you guys enjoy it. What else? There was one more thing I want. Oh, Quentin Tarantino. This is where I'm going to, because it's been a heavy week. We got that Shanquella Robinson situation that we are learning about, and the more we learn, the more we learn about the situation, the more we realize what we don't know. Even up to 4 hours ago, we're still getting different information. We're still getting different information up to 4 hours ago. So, and there was a video where Denzel Washington talked about how people will put out any type of news. They don't want to be right. They want to be first. And that is why a lot of times I spend a little bit more time sitting back and waiting for a story to develop before I start reporting on it, because when you're first, you're probably wrong. Yeah, you get a lot of views. A lot of people listen to you, but you got to live with the fact that you put out a whole bunch of bad information. So Denzel Washington talked about that famously. He's like, if you are not, if you don't watch the news, you're ill-informed. And if you watch too much news, you're misinformed. And sometimes that's the way things go. You get misinformed because people want to be first. But anywho, we were talking about the Shanquella Robinson case, and that is laying heavily on me, because that's a young girl. Yeah. And I'm going to read this article about Shanquella, because just a little bit of it, maybe not the entire article, because like I said, there is every day another piece to the story is coming out, and it's not what you found out the first day. So an arrest warrant was issued Wednesday in the death of 25-year-old Shanquella Robinson, an American woman vacationing in Mexico, for an alleged perpetrator who was not named, according to a local prosecutor. This case is fully clarified. We even have a court order. There is an arrest warrant issued for the crime of femicide to the detriment of the victim and against an alleged perpetrator, a friend of hers who is the direct aggressor. Actually, it wasn't a quarrel, but instead a direct aggression. We're carrying out all the pertinent procedures, such as the Interpol alert and the request for extradition to the United States of America. So I don't know who this person is, because there's been a lot of, and everybody left and they all flew back to the United States and they left the girl's body there. They didn't do anything. But we're seeing now that Interpol, which is the international police, is being involved. There's an Interpol alert and a request for extradition to the United States of America, which means wherever this person is, it's not in the United States. So all the stories that everybody has been going around and telling, check your sources, because a lot of people are making it up as they go along. They're not waiting for the story to develop. They are developing the story themselves. But anywho, ABC News spoke to Shanquella Robinson's mother, Salamandra Robinson, on Wednesday, and when told that there is an arrest warrant issued for the crime against her daughter, and hearing the news for the first time, she responded, "I feel so good. That's a good feeling. That's what we've been waiting for someone to finally be held accountable and arrested. I just can't wait for justice to be served." As FBI officials investigate the death of Robinson, Mexican authorities revealed Tuesday night that Robinson may have been alive and received care from a medical professional for several hours before authorities arrived and she was pronounced dead. The medical professional at the scene allegedly told Robinson's friends that Robinson was drunk, dehydrated, and that they should take her to a hospital. However, they declined to do so, according to authorities. The news report differs significantly from the original autopsy report obtained by ABC News, which said medical professionals arrived at Robinson's villa at 3 p.m. and she was declared dead within 15 minutes. The autopsy also said Robinson died from a severe spinal cord injury and a dislocated neck. Authorities have not responded to ABC News's request for comment on the difference between their report and the autopsy. According to the new police report, Robinson's friends requested a medical consultation at 2:13 p.m. After a general practitioner from the American Medical Center arrived at the address in Puerto Los Cabos, Robinson's friends told the medical professional that she had drank a lot of alcohol. Medical professionals said they noticed Robinson had a poor verbal response, was in a state of drunkenness, and was dehydrated, but she had stable vital signs. The medical professional at the scene advised Robinson's friends to transfer her to a hospital, but her friends insisted she stay at the villa. At 4:20 p.m., Robinson began seizing, which is when one of Robinson's friends, Winter Essence Donovan, dialed 911. As emergency medical professionals arrived, the police report said Robinson began having difficulty breathing and had a decreased pulse. At 4:49 p.m., the general practitioner said they stopped feeling Robinson's pulse and started CPR until the paramedics arrived. They continued with 14 CPR sessions and 5 doses of adrenaline without success. Robinson went into an assisted state type of cardiac arrest, according to the police report. Robinson was declared deceased at 5:57 p.m., the report said. According to the new police report, Mexican authorities were notified by Donovan around 5 p.m. local time of Robinson's condition. Not no maid, not nobody else. Winter Donovan, one of the people who was there with that young lady, and that doctor. Donovan and all of Robinson's friends who were with her in Cabo have not responded to ABC News' repeated requests for comments. And you know what? If I was the parent of those kids, those young people, they're not kids. of those young men and women, I would lawyer up, because whether you did something or not, the court of public opinion already has said that you are guilty of something. So you're not talking to anybody, because anything that you say can be held against you where? In a court of law. I'm gonna get my baby an attorney and we gonna shut the fuck up. That doesn't mean that I'm saying that these people were right in the way that they did things. But now, as a parent, when you get back home and now you are in the middle of this mess, and your parents find out, your parents are going to rally around you and protect you. And if the only thing that I can do to protect my baby is to say shut the fuck up, I'm going to tell him to shut the fuck up. Where else? Um, Now the FBI, okay, the FBI opened a probe into Robinson's death earlier this month, which is being investigated by Mexican authorities as femicide, a form of gender-based violence. Robinson of Charlotte, North Carolina, went to the resort city of San Jose del Cabo on the southern tip of Mexico's Baja California peninsula with 6 friends on October 28th. They stayed at a rental villa in Fundadores, an exclusive gated community with vacation homes and a private beach club. The next day, Robinson's parents said they got a frantic telephone call from their daughter's friends saying she had died. With all the new and developing information, Robinson's family is still seeking answers from her friends who know what happened that weekend in Cabo. Salamandra Robinson, the mother of Shanquella Robinson, says she's happy the FBI has stepped in to help solve her daughter's case so it won't go in vain. I'd like to see each one of them sent back to Mexico because their plan was to come back here thinking that they weren't going to be prosecuted. But my question is, then why did they have to get an arrest warrant from Interpol to have somebody extradited back to the United States? Sounds to me like whoever did this is still outside of the country. So, anywho, we talked about that. And there was, of course, I was feeling some type of way about that situation. Then we got this situation over there in Colorado at that Club Q, where the people were killed at the nightclub by some psycho. And this psycho's father, if you are on social media, there's a video that's been going around of the father of the father of the shooter in the Colorado situation. And he's like, yeah, I've been hearing that my son is been accused. You know what? Let me see if I can find it. Because y'all ain't gonna believe me if I tell you this shit. There is no way you're going to believe that this is the way this father was talking after hearing about what his son had allegedly done. It ain't no allegedly, he did it. So let me find it. Let me find it because it was absolutely nuts. It was literally nuts. What this man was talking about. The man in question is the father of this boy and or this young man, and he said, okay, wait a minute. And you could tell there's something wrong with him. So I'm not, I ain't gonna shit on this man too much because there's something wrong with him, and I know I got an idea what's wrong with him, but I don't want to put that out there in the atmosphere because I could be wrong. But check this out. Check this out. Let me make sure I add that to the stream. Let's listen to this crap.
For the shooting involving, multiple people. Right. And then I found later on trying to find it's a gay bar.
Yeah, right. And
I was like, oh my God, is he gay? As a scare, oh my God, shit, is he gay? And he's not gay. So it's
well, you guys had conversations about that. You were.
Oh yeah, so
You
I was
you
adamant
told him.
about it.
Yeah, you were adamant that gay
I
is
was adamant
gay
this
is
ain't
bad.
happening.
Yeah.
I'm a Mormon. I'm a conservative Republican, and we don't do gay. I don't do
Yeah.
gay. We don't do gay.
Yeah.
I can't get answers from the attorneys really, but they're saying that some of these, it's involving a gay bar or some shit. I don't know. I don't know what the heck you did at a gay bar. I don't know what's
Well, he's accused of going on a mass shooting at a gay bar and killing 5 people.
Colorado.
Okay, well, that's shit. If he's accused of doing that, I'm he's not gay. I say that, but he's not gay. There's a shooting involving, multiple people.
Right.
And then
Now, I don't know if you guys were able to understand. This man said, yeah, I heard that he went on a shooting spree and killed a whole bunch of people at some gay bar, but I'm just glad he's not gay. Yeah, but this was his big fear for his son. His son has just killed a gang of people, injured a whole bunch of other folks. His biggest concern was, boy, I'm glad that he ain't gay. But obviously this man is on something. I'm not going to speculate what it is, even though people have done that for us already. They also say that this man was somebody who was on a season of intervention, and he had a meth addiction then, and also a porn addiction where he would do meth and would literally, what they said was masturbate for 12 to 14 hours a day until he got into porn. Look, this is a wild, wild story about the father. But this is the father, allegedly, of the young man who did the shooting at the Colorado nightclub. So, wow. That's all I have to say about that. So we had that situation. We got the Shanquella Robinson situation. We had the nightclub situation with this clown. And then last night, we had the Chesapeake Walmart shooting. And that's wild. I'm like another mass shooting within literal days of this first one. And we like to say, oh, it's always white guys out here doing it. Yay. No, this was a black dude. And look, I ain't saying that there's no color that would make it better. But this man, yeah, he looked like he was coming to work on some B to the S. He really and truly did. That looks like somebody who went to work up to no good. And I know it's not funny because that is so heavy on me to where I'm exhausted just thinking about this is holiday season. This is when people go to stores. Of course, I don't leave the house. Y'all know I'm agoraphobic. I rarely leave this house. But I know people who do leave the house. And then when they walk out the house, now I am feeling the anxiety of them even leaving the house and the fear that something will happen and they won't make it back. I am truly, truly petrified of people being of psychos like this. Psychos like this. Why would you go to work and kill these people? These young, well, not it even don't matter whether they're young or old. There's got to be another way to handle whatever situation you were going through at work or in your life. Yeah, it's just a lot of so the fact that all of these things have happened and keep happening are weighing heavily on my spirit, and I'm finding it very hard to be happy when it's just so much bad going on in this world. So that is why today I didn't show my face. I didn't put on makeup. I didn't put on clothes today. but I did want to share some of this stuff that does make me happy, which is talking about entertainment and speculating on what's going to happen next, without without sounding like we know what's going to happen. This is all speculation, y'all. So I want you guys to be safe out there. Whoever is watching, whoever is within the sound of my voice, as they used to say at the church. Um, Take care of yourself and your families. Take care of each other. I'll catch you guys back here next week where we do the weekly wrap up. We'll talk about the box office for this weekend, which should be bonkers. Again, I'm expecting a shakeup. I'm not expecting the same five that we have been seeing in the in the top five. I expect a shakeup, starting with, well, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever might be the only thing that is still there. Maybe the menu. So we'll have Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. We'll probably have Strange World. We'll probably have the menu. Um, and it's up for grabs. The Fablemans probably will be there too. Oh, thank you, Reinhardt. I sure appreciate you, sir. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. I love you guys too. Love you much. And yes, keep me in your prayers. And I promise you, I'll keep you in mind, because yeah, it's a crazy world we're in. Be careful out there. But yeah, we gonna wrap it up. I appreciate you for your continued support, Reinhardt, of the show as well. Thank you so much. If you watch some of my videos, like I just put out a video called the DCU Draft Part 1, no, Part 2, and it was about the starters, and I had you guys come up as far as the you guys were in my credits as my executive producers on that. So everybody who is supporting the show, I appreciate it. With all that being said, let me get up out of here. Maybe I can I can get out of this slump that I'm in, because Lord, this news, has been a lot of bad news. Maybe tomorrow, if we're not everybody ain't got the itis, passed out somewhere, I might jump in and say happy Thanksgiving to you guys, and we'll have a brief conversation tomorrow as well. On your way out the door, guys, please hit the like button, and yeah, have yourselves a happy Thanksgiving, and I'll catch y'all on the other side. Peace.